Spawning in the upper right here in the blue. The ace from Kites of Gaming. Give it up for Solar. And in the bottom left, in the red for Dragon Phoenix Gaming, the one, the only, is ZEST. I am Zinigo Pombo. I am getting my PhD in robotics. Specifically space robotics, more than anything else. Although a lot of the research I'm doing right now is in Arctic robotics. So I guess it's field robotics is really the term. Right now we're looking at different funding opportunities because we got a couple of really cool ideas, and the trick, of course, is actually getting them funded. That's the dirty little secret of academia. It's 9/10 of it is grubbing for grants. The rest of it is actually, getting the work done. I can actually build stalkers. Well, here's the thing. Neither stalkers nor immortals are robots. I love it. I made a Reddit post about this group. I'm like, yeah, guys, come watch, right? And some of you may even be coming from that Reddit post, but a comment just popped up on it. I got a notification on my computer that's just saying, oh, hopefully Solar doesn't get nuked again. Well, that was Solar versus Maru, not Solar versus Beyond. So, and that's that. But yeah, anyway, so immortals are mostly dead. What are they? They're zealots that are the zealots that have been on life support or something. And stalkers are just the Nerazim equivalent. I forget exactly, but I don't. There are a lot of robots in the Protoss army. Oracles are. I want to say oracles are robots, and probes, of course, are absolutely robots. But I don't think stalkers or immortals are robots, actually. Granted, I never really paid too much attention to the StarCraft lore. I cared much more about the gameplay. But I'm getting my PhD at Dartmouth as Inigo Pombo. The only organic part is the hair. Are we talking about? Very clearly, I'm getting my PhD in robotics so I can better commune with my people better. This will be an Oracle opening here from ZEST, and bear in mind, of course, that this is a rematch from the first series, or the second series of the day, but these players have already played each other, and Solar 2-0'd ZEST. He said, yes, 2000 Hemispheres was map 1. ZEST went for 3-base carrier. It did not work out. But I'm wondering here whether ZEST makes it look like he's going for a similar build, and then does a little bit of an about face. Right, because the Oracle now is going to fly on in, and the triple Oracle opener is kind of how ZEST has been going about this carrier build. And there we go, third base on the way right at 4 minutes, 3:30, 3:15. There we go. So it will be a Twilight on the way. ZEST is changing things up. He will be going for what Stats started to do a little bit ago. I don't know if it's fair to call it the Stats build anymore because it's just I'm actually not exactly sure where it originated, but we will see glaives out of this here from ZEST. Double Oracle into glaives. As now these Zerglings are going to look to try to get these adepts, and with the 4 adepts here, that won't be all that successful. How many oracles do we have? We have 2 oracles, not 3, just 2. And the adepts actually look like they're trying to get out on the map a little bit more, as the oracles, well, are going to try to find as much damage as they can. I do like paired oracle and adept harass, but with the Zergling striking around, they will be able to prevent the oracles from moving out on the map just a little bit. And these oracles really will not be able to get a whole lot done. We already have 5 queens out on the map. 1 oracle actually goes down. That's a bit unfortunate here for ZEST indeed. Oh, very cool, Zinigo Pombo. Yeah, I've done a little bit of computer simulation work for like physics simulations. I built what was it? It was I'm forgetting the term, but a variable density. No, that's not quite what it is. A variable density particle Particle Simulator as part of that. I did not use. Do I use ROS? Like if you're talking about the robotic operating system, yes, I do use ROS, but not for the not for the simulation thing. I mean, for robotic simulation, yes, but not for the graphic stuff. For that, I used a somewhat custom library in C, based off the Eigen library. Anyway, now the adepts are going to come shading on in, and that's a lot of it. I mean, this is 17 adepts here. Zest is committed rather hard for this. But there are roaches on the way, and you know what? As cool as this build is, as powerful as it looked when it first started being used, I feel like every time I see this, it's always against a Zerg player who's going for a Roach Ravager Queen Walk anyways, and it just doesn't get a lot done. Yeah, with the amount of roaches here, I mean, Zest is probably just going to hold these adepts off on the right-hand side, wait for Solar to move out on the map, and then just try to ravage every single mineral line on the hopes that maybe that will be enough. Maybe killing off every mineral line is going to be enough to justify the commitment that he went for. But that also means that 17 adepts, so 34 army supply is just out on the map and not there to defend. So the queens are starting to walk now, and that means the adepts are going to try to get something done, but they will find a bunch of roaches here. And you know what? Honestly, that's not a lot of roaches. So the army here from Solar will be forced back for the time being, as the adepts, they're going to try to find their way on in, but they will not complete that shade. And the adepts, okay, there we go. They're just going to recall after forces the army of Zest or of Solar back for just a little bit of time. But now we have more Ravagers on the way. The wall's open. I don't think Solar's aware of this, but the wall is in fact open. He can just run a bunch of Zerglings on through there and really cause some problems here for Zest. Now the Force Fields are going to be able to zone off some of these queens immediately. The Biles will knock them down, and there we go. Now the Zerglings are going to find their way on through. The wall has been, well, the gap has been found. And now Zerglings are going to find the main base here. Blink Stalkers are on the way, but that is not exactly what you need here. So, well, Solar, honestly, he just has too much. It is 124 army supply to 56. And yes, the Oracles can eventually knock everything down if they have enough energy. I mean, this army here from Zest is lacking on the right-hand side. The fourth base, or excuse me, the third base is going to be broken. The Immortals are dying. They're not so much so immortal anymore. This full-on concave of Zerg is just more than enough here. Zest, this is just kind of what happens when you go for that Stargate into glaive attack and it just doesn't work, which it tends to not. Everything just kind of dies. The static defense is dead. The Immortals are dead. The army is dead. 88 army supply to 27. The probes are going to have to get pulled, but it's Zergling Roach. I mean, the probe pull's not going to do a lot. This is going to be it. Unfortunately, players are just kind of speed running this tournament. And that does mean that Zest, he's going to find himself in a 1-0 lead. Or sorry, Solar is a 1-0 lead. So it will be a Stargate here from Zest once again, but for those of you that have been paying attention to the meta over the last, I don't know, since January, will not be surprised by this. This is kind of the standard PVZ at this point. And no, I'm not muted. I shouldn't be at the very least. I just didn't say anything for a second. Welcome, Artodoc. I don't speak Russian, or at the very least, I don't understand Cyrillic. Is that Cyrillic or is that Greek? That's right. Yeah, no, that's Cyrillic. Okay. I don't speak Cyrillic. Like, I mean, it looks like it's not Greek. I know that's not modern Greek. The oh, okay. So, but it is, yeah. We could say so. It is Cyrillic, but an English words in Cyrillic characters. That is there we go. Good. So we will have Oracles out on the way, and Zest, I mean, he likes his double Oracle play. And normally, again, from what I've seen from him over the last couple days, I've cast a lot of Zest over the last couple days, actually. He does seem to prefer, or this, I shouldn't say seem to prefer, but this double Oracle play does seem to be a harbinger of the carrier style. That being said, I mean, he showed his last game. That doesn't mean it will be, as he went for 17 glaive adepts out of that double Oracle, and it was 17 glaive adepts into death, because, you know, at this point, Zerg players are just going for these queen walks anyways, and when you do that, you get a lot of roaches, and adepts just don't fight roaches. I don't know whether Trovo has this function. It doesn't really matter. ZEST Career is more like a sine wave. You know, a heart monitor is periodic spikes down to like a pretty low norm, and or just to a flatline norm, and you know, it's almost a discrete function. A sine wave though, a sine wave just going up and down, and you peaks and valleys, and as soon as you valley, you peak. As soon as you peak, you valley. Which I don't know. I think that seems to be like a lot closer to what ZEST does for me. But anyway, so these 3 oracles here, they're gonna try to get something done, and 2 drones is not enough. The Roach Warren is just about done. More gateways are on. Oh, we got a blink all in coming on up here. So +1 blink is going to be the name of the game here from ZEST, as he's going to try something. Fling mud at a wall, hope it sticks. Now these oracles, they're not getting what they need, as a wise man once said. Or once told me when I was coming back to the game, and I'm like, yeah, how do I? What are my metrics that I'm looking at? Because honestly, ZVP has always been and will always be my worst matchup. Oh, Zerglings are going to get a couple sentries here. That is fantastic. Oh, they're going to get a lot. So 1 sentry goes down. 2nd sentry will be saved, but 1 sentry, 1 adapt will get taken down for that. Pretty good move there from ZEST, and immediately from Solar, and immediately we have the queens walking. Now Blink will eventually be done for this, but this is a fast move out here indeed from Solar, as this is one of the more committed Roach Ravager queen all-ins that we have, or queen pressure that we have seen. It's only 4 queens, it's not 7, and of course it's only on 44 workers, it's not on 56. So that is something we do have to pay attention to here, as we do have, of course, a shield battery overcharge is getting popped, but it's just going to go down immediately. The queens are walking forward, doing what they can, and if there's going to be a game that ZEST does hold, it is going to be this one indeed. The army from Solar is not as inspiring as it once was, or as previous games have been, as now the Stalkers, they're going to keep firing away. Now ZEST does not have any income on this 3rd base. That is a thing, but it's just going to be a Zergling Ravager is going to be the name of the game here. The 3rd base is going to get broken, I think, and there we go, recall onto the natural. But it's not a question of whether the third base gets broken. It's a question of whether ZEST can hold the natural, whether he can hold the main, and that is, I think, the answer. So look at this, the queens are just going to try to walk on home here, as Solar's going to be happy with this. He says, look, I'm droning behind this, I'm totally fine. But I think ZEST is more going to say, you know, you've just activated my trap card. The Biles are going to land. That's going to be nice for Solar, but he will lose the Ravagers, and these queens should die as well. So this is +1 blink. There will be sentry soon. Yeah, the queens are just going to be dead. How many queens do we have on the map? We only have 2. Once these 4 queens do die, never mind, we're going to have 3. And ZEST, he's only down 13 army supply, which is only, I mean, I say only 13, but he has +1, he has blink. He has a far better army. But no, I kind of thought ZEST was going to try to move across the map here, there, and kill his opponent, but no, he's just going to retake his 3rd base. And I mean, that gives Solar time to take a 4th base. That gives Solar time to drone back up once again. That gives Solar time to get upgrades. And he's going to go for Roach Ravager Ling Bane in this game, which is really is a composition that has been become far less popular. It's very anachronistic at the moment. It was very popular, but then Banelings were nerfed like 3 times in a row. And suddenly they were always bad against Stalkers, but they could be somewhat good against a bunch of Stalkers, because Stalkers do clump. But at this point, they just don't feel very good at all. So interesting that Solar is going for that instead of maybe, you know, getting a Hydra in, going for kind of Roach Ravager Hydra or something like that. Here we go. Baneley speed is on the way. Both players, they have an economy. We're able to build that back up. Stesty's on 60 workers. He's going to want a couple more, going up to like 66. But it's 9 minutes in the game by the time his 3rd base is fully saturated. So the main base cannot saturate on 16 probes anymore. So yeah, 60's more than enough here. So the Oracle's going to try to find some damage, but will not find all that much. We'll force the drones to get pulled for the time being. And now it's going to get some reinforcements, so that's going to be nice here. Good enough at the very least. But more and more roaches are on the way, more and more zerglings, more and more ravagers, as we will have baneling speed done in 30 seconds. And the creep is well developed as well. So Solar, he's going to start leaning into this powerful force rather soon. Yes, there is a Temple Archives that is done, but we don't have Storm on the way. So I believe this is just for Archons, which, you know, Archons are very good against banelings, to be sure. But still. Oh, look at this. Solar, he's got two armies here. So he's sharking around on the right-hand side and the left-hand side. Really hoping for a big sandwich. Baneling speed. Okay, baneling speed is now done here. So we have army coming on the right-hand side and the left-hand side. Banelings coming on from both sides. And these force fields are actually going to be fantastic indeed. Zest zoning everything out. But now the force fields on the right-hand side will get taken on down. You know what, though? Great hold there from Zest thus far. The army supply lead is not nearly as significant as it once was, and Zest does have an upgrade lead, so Solar, he's going to be forced back. He's going to have to build some more. Not exactly sure what that battle was for, but, you know, benefit of the doubt. All right, so 5th base on the way here from Solar, getting that second Evo so he can get Carapace, I assume, or maybe it's just going to be for both attack upgrades, because Zest really has not shown any desire to go on into Skytoss just yet. Well, you can attack into shield batteries, Catharsis, if your banelings connect, and Zest did a fantastic job with his force fields of making sure that those banelings did not connect. So now plus, oh man, this is going to be such an upgrade lead. +3 is about halfway done, and Zest is spending a lot of chronos on into it, as he does take his 4th base, and actually looks like he sets up a run by on the left-hand side as well. So both players, they're starting to attack up at this point. We do have more and more Archons. Zest, or Solar, is a fairly decent concave setup here on the top side of the ramp. And looks like, I think he's just setting these this Roach Bane Force up for a surround. Anyway, Zest does have a army supply lead at this point. More and more banelings are on the way, of course. This will be for double attack upgrades, which makes a lot of sense because, again, we have not seen any idea that this is going to be Skytoss anytime soon. But now banelings are going to come rolling on in. How many force fields do we have? I think there's like 8 force fields. And that's going to be more enough. But oh, the Stalker's playing on top of a bunch of banelings. I don't know how I feel about that one. That's not all that great indeed. Meanwhile, this run by on the left-hand side, not getting anything done. It was a bunch of zealots, I think, and oh, the Oracle's going to die too. I think a bunch of zealots on the left-hand side. They ran into that Roach Bane Force that Solar did have defending that side of the map. And now Solar, he's on 5 bases, 82 workers, but we don't have any advanced tech just yet. We do not see any idea that he wants to go for Lair. We don't have an infestation pit. We have nothing like that. It's just Roach Ravager Lingbane, as he's going to try to break Zest here. And there's a reason, by the way, that this composition became a lot less powerful. Certainly if you're trying to attack on into things like this. But hey, you know what? Zest or Solar has been able to find a couple Archons off by their lonesome, but that's not going to really work out all that well. Hey, the Biles are going to do a nice job of knocking down those warping and stalkers. And there we go. Yeah, Baneling's not going to get anything done. Solar, he's looking for damage, but he's just really not finding it. Now Zest, he has 4 bases up. It looks like he may be posturing for a 5th, or at the very least, he's posturing for maybe a better fight. That is, this is going to be a massive surround coming on in here. When was the last time you saw a Protoss player be the surrounding one instead of the one that gets surrounded in a PvZ? So now Solar's going to try to take this fight coming on in here, but meanwhile, of course, the army from Zest on the other side of the map. This is just a massive surround, and this is a masterful move here from Zest. Indeed, it is 1-1 attack upgrades versus +3 attack. And the Banelings are going to get some decent connections here on top of the Stalkers, but this is honestly just too much Zest. The entire army here from Solar has been surrounded. The 3rd base has been broken. All the probes have been pulled from there. Now the Stalkers are going to blink on forward, and yes, now we finally have +2 range, +2 melee coming on in sooner rather than later. But Zest, I think he's just got a little bit too much here. Now, we do have to pay attention to reinforcements, pay attention to rallies, but that's why Zest is moving on in here immediately. He's like, look, I took that one good fight. I got that surround. Now it's time for me to find my way on into the natural. Cut off your reinforcements before you're really able to get what you want to get done here. Now, Biles will land, but it's only one. And with the Archons here tanking, the Banelings are not going to be enough. GG Zest. For the first time in this entire group, we're going to have game 3. So this will be Void Ray into Oracle, which does make us think that this will be a more standard Stargate opener here from Zest. Will he go for a second Oracle? Though it looks like he won't. Although that may just be because he is heinously supply blocked, sitting here at 53 out of 54 for just about 15 seconds. That doesn't feel all that great, but there we go. Second Stargate will go underway. And this, I mean, there's maybe a chance that this is going to be carrier, but I think this is just going to be double Stargate Void Ray coming on up here from Zest. That is kind of, this is the build that he is going for. This is kind of that standard PvZ that has become so popular over the last 4 or 5 months. And is also one that is decently vulnerable to the Road Ravager Queen Walk, especially on a map like this where it is hard to get static defense that covers both, which is the big deal. On some maps, you can kind of make it so that the Zerg player kind of attacks through your third, kind of has to. Oxide's a decent example of that one where it's hard to get queens onto your natural, bypass that third. So when that happens, you can kind of put static defense in such a position where you always have it where you need it. But on a map like this, where the optimal path kind of takes you through the natural, it means that putting your shield batteries where they need to go, well, it becomes a bit of a problem. And just make it a little bit difficult for you to figure out exactly where your static defense needs to be to make sure that your Void Rays do stay alive. But of course, this is actually one of the quicker ground techs that we do see. So I think it's only going to be maybe 4 Void Rays, and then immediately it's going to be +1 charge behind that. And there are some Void Ray charge all-ins. Now, I don't think we're going to see that this game. I think it is a lot better to just let the Zerg go on into you. Let the Zerg kind of attack on into you there, and then defeat them back, than it is to try to move out on the map against a Zerg that is most likely going to all-in. I gotta say though, I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen the Spire style come on up here. This is something that DRG, Solar, and Raynor have really been enjoying, where they go for a lair, and then the first piece of gas they spend off of that lair is for a Spire. Then they go like 13, 15 mutas and Corruptors behind it. They go Mutaling Corruptor, and it really deals with the Stargate style very well. Now maybe Solar is aware that this is less of a commitment to Stargate than, or Zest has made less of a commitment to Stargate than other players would, but still it's interesting indeed that we have not seen that at all in this series. But no, he's just going to go for the Queen Walk once again, and this will of course be scouted, but this is the 66 odd drone Queen Walk, not the one that we saw in the previous game that was off of 44 workers. So this has a lot more oomph behind it, and a lot more army supply behind it too, as for the moment here Solar is tripling the army supply of his opponent. Queens are going to find their way on in, and more importantly, Zerglings find their way on into the main base. So A, that's a scout. B, that does mean that production is going to get damaged here. So 3 Queens will get feedback, and that does mean that there is less healing just a little bit. But now the Roaches, the Ravagers are here. Charge is done. How many Zealots do we have? So Zealots are going to be able to make a connection here, as long as they get on top of the Roaches and not the Ravagers. Solar is happy, but it looks like they have made connections on top of the Ravagers as well, as the Oracles will go on down. But now the shield bag, or excuse me, the Cybercore is dead, which doesn't really matter in the context of this game. All you want is all you run really is charge lots, Archons, and Immortals. None of those really require a Cybercore. But now the probes are going to get pulled here. 5 probes will go on down, and more are starting to die here. Archon is just about dead here as well. The Void Rays are dying. The Void Rays are dead, and now it's just Immortal charge lot is going to be the name of the game. Solar, he has what he needs. His push is just too damn strong. 1 Immortal will die. Second one is going to go on down as well. Zest coming to terms with the fact that he will not be in the round of 4 as Solar takes game number 3.